Something's gotta give. Yeah, something's gotta change. I can't keep going on like this. I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm not getting anywhere. You know how it is.
Hi-de-ho, YouTubers. The green beans in my little garden have done exceptionally well this year. I've gotten over 2.5 grocery bags full from just a 4-foot by 4-foot section. One thing you should know about growing green beans, pole or bush, you need to pick them on a frequent basis, because once the seed or bean inside the pod matures, that sends a signal to the plant. We've done our job, reproduced, and the plant quits making new beans. Once you have all these beans, now what are you going to do with them? I suppose you could freeze them, but what if the power grid goes down? You could dry them, but they just don't taste right afterwards to me. That leaves one choice. You have to can them up. Now, I do have to tell you, this whole process is a huge hassle. And the economics of it aren't real good either, compared to running down to the store and buying a can. You have to buy a lot of equipment and the jars. And the Achilles heel to home canning is the lids. Everything else is reusable. I recently priced out lids at Walmart for $2.12 a dozen US. That's 18 cents a piece. Really cuts into the comparison to a store-bought can of green beans. I did recently find a cheaper source, and I bought this stack. This is 120 largemouth lids, and they cost me about 13 cents a piece. That's a little better. So why go to all this trouble and expense? Because if the store shelves go empty, this process allows you to grow and store your own food on an annual basis, as long as you store up plenty of lids. That'll help keep you and your family from maybe starving to death in the future. So anyhow, green beans have to be pressure canned. It's not like making pickles. It's a little more dangerous, and you have to be really careful what you're doing. I bought this canner at an auction. I'd never used it before, so as far as I was concerned, it was untested. You work with some pretty high steam pressure in this process. So instead of possibly blowing up the kitchen, I drug it out into the front yard and tested it there. By the way, if you can get your hands on one of these camp stoves, it's a good thing to have. Not the propane kind, but the multi-fuel kind. They'll run on gasoline or kerosene or Coleman fuel. Pretty adaptable thing to have in an emergency. I ran it up to 15 pounds of steam and left it there about 45 minutes, and well, I didn't blow myself up, so I guess it was successful. So let's go on in the kitchen and get started. Gather up all your supplies and clean your kitchen really well. I like to wipe things down with some water with a little bit of bleach in it and let it dry. And oh yeah, get yourself one of these. It's the Bible for home canning. Follow its instructions explicitly. You're dealing with stuff like salmonella and botulism, germs that could kill you. So you have to be careful and don't experiment. Wash your beans really well and then let them drain in a colander, and then you can cut the ends off and pull the strings if you have to and cut them up into bite-sized pieces. Boil them in water for about 5 minutes. Wait till they come to a full rolling boil before you start counting the time. In the meantime, get a few inches of water in the bottom of your canner and another big pan full, and make sure they stay at 180 degrees. The other pan of water is for your jars and lids. Don't let the lids boil. That could ruin them. Once your beans have cooked for 5 minutes, then you can fill your jars. Use a funnel. There's something called head space. That's the space between the top of the beans or whatever you're canning and the rim of the jar. Follow the book on whatever you're canning. Green beans call for 1 inch. This is an important thing. When you have them filled, you can add a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon if you want to, and then clean the rims really well. Then get a thing called a lid lifter and get out your lids and rings from the hot water and put them on just barely finger tight. Don't over tighten them. Once you've done all that, you can use a jar lifter and put them in the canner. Once you have everything buttoned up and start applying heat, let steam come out the vent or leave the little jiggle thingy off for at least 10 minutes. That fills the whole canner with steam so you don't have air pockets to ruin the process. Process the jars as long as the book says. This can vary depending on your altitude above sea level and what kind of canner you're using. Once that's done, turn the heat off and let it sit all the way down till the pressure's 0, and then at least 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 after that. Then you can open things up. Don't get anxious. You could really get hurt and ruin your beans in the process. Once you've done that, you can lift the jars out with your jar lifter and let them finish cooling the rest of the way on top of a towel. You'll know you've had success when you hear them start to pop. They'll make a popping sound. You can test them afterwards by pressing down on the lids with your finger. If they pop down and back up, you've got a dud. Put that one in the fridge and eat it in the next couple nights. If they're already down and don't come up, those cans are successful. They'll last probably a year in a cool, dark place. Try to keep them where there isn't high humidity. Oh yeah, and take the rings off. You're relying on the vacuum seal inside the jar to keep things tight, not the ring. So there you have it. We've canned up our own green beans. It's a lot of work, but it's also satisfying, and you can do it on a repetitive, permanent basis over many years, even when the grocery shelves go empty. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them from my limited knowledge. I hope it helped.
'Cause every dollar I make seem to get me nowhere. No matter how hard I try, I can't seem to get